I'm going to go ahead and call this a pro tip, even though that would seem to imply that I'm a pro. I think that's probably a stretch. In any case, at a certain point in your Rimworld career, I think it becomes painfully obvious that your characters are not tireless automata, so you become increasingly concerned with time efficiency, or at least I did. Travel time in particular can really eat into your pawn's day, especially if you've only got one pawn like Arcadia here, though admittedly that's a bit of an edge case and it's not a playstyle that I particularly recommend. In any case, it's a good idea to cut down travel time where you can. And one place that you might do that is with repetitive production tasks like cooking. So for example, when you're cooking meals, you really don't want your pawn making a trip to the freezer every single time he or she finishes cooking a meal, right? So something that took me a while to notice was that on production bills, you have the ability to manually assign a delivery location for your jobs. So if we look at a bill for a simple meal, we notice that we can have that meal delivered to wherever we choose, any stockpile that will accept it. We can even drop it directly on the floor. If you're cooking a bunch of meals at a time, maybe you do want to drop them directly on the floor. It's a bit messy, but it gets the job done. You do, however, lose the advantage of the do until you have X functionality, which I like to use. And the reason for that is because unless it's in a stockpile, it will not be reflected in the tally here, and your characters will just keep crafting and crafting and crafting pretty much until the end of time, or until somebody eventually moves those objects into a stockpile. So a better way to do that would be to create a stockpile zone that sits right next to your stove or campfire, what have you. And we're just going to go ahead and give this an identifiable name like the meals pile, and we go into the storage settings and we're going to set the priority on that to low and just make sure that only meals get delivered here. And the reason that we set the priority to low is because it's understood that this is not meant to be the ultimate destination for the meals that you drop here. It's really just a temporary storage location until somebody comes and moves it to your freezer or wherever. You just need to remember to update your bill after you've done this and manually assign the meals pile as the delivery location. Of course, this saves you some time, but your character is still going to go back and forth to the fridge to get raw ingredients. So if you really want to be a pro, you can create a stockpile zone again that's meant for vegetables or whatever it is you want to cook, veggies pile, and we'll set the storage on that to preferred in this case because we kind of do want this to be kept stored with food full time. I say veggies because they'll spoil a lot less quickly than any meat, for example, that you would leave out there. So, et voila, right? Your cook barely ever has to get off of her posterior. Naturally, this works better if you've got at least one extra pawn to keep the cook's stockpile topped up. Alright, hope that helps somebody. Until next time, go play some Rimworld.